Do you know that some people say the love you desire is most likely based off of the love you lacked in childhood? Welcome to the Sunshine State. My name is Sunshine Wiley and I am your host. Um that is crazy to me. But sometimes it makes a little bit of sense. But then I talked to my therapist and she had something a little different to say about that. So, before we jump into that, I want to start this episode by showing you a video. And this video kind of speaks a little bit to that. So, I will let the video do its talking and then I'll comment after. Whatever you didn't get. Hold on, hold on. So if your elbows to the ground. Oh, Jesus. Come on, get it together. All right. Do you know that your love language is likely whatever you didn't get as a child? So, if as a child you were afraid to ask for help or have always had to do things for yourself and others early on, yours is acts of service. If, as a child, you spend a large part of your time alone and often felt isolated, yours is quality time. If, as a child, you had avoidant, unaffectionate parents, caregivers, yours is physical touch. If, as a child, you didn't receive many gifts, or the ones you got weren't what you wanted, meaningful, yours is gift giving. If, as a child, you were often criticized for your failings, weren't praised often, and learned to withdraw to cope with discomfort, yours is words of affirmation. Your love language reflects the type of love you didn't receive enough of as a child. Knowing your love language will lead you to a better understanding of yourself and your relationships. Did you know that your love language is love? He didn't want to stop. So I look, okay. So on onset, when I saw that video, I was like, I guess it could be some truth to this. I guess some of what is being said could be positive and impactful. I had mixed feelings about it because, like, I never like to try to take anything social media wise, like at face value, because it's all kind of stuff being said, and people are gonna say what they want to say, and they're gonna do what they want to do. And I don't necessarily think that ordering somebody to operate within your love language is going to give the result that you actually think it's going to give. Now, having an awareness of the things that you like is important. I do think that is important. However, I think that it's also not realistic to expect a person to drop the way they love in order to make sure that the way you love is all they do, because it also limits them and what they can do. Um, I will read the five love languages to you because that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the love languages. I want to talk about and explore what love languages are, how relevant are they, and how applicable they are to your life. And if they are applicable to your life, how can you apply them to your life? So I'm going to open this article and read it directly because y'all know I like sources and y'all know I like to give y'all directly accurate information. I'm not going to give you nothing that I guessed. I'm not going to give you nothing that I think or feel or whatever. So it's going to be real, honest, and accurate information. So, what are the five love languages? So, off top, first one is acts of service. The second one is receiving gifts. The third one is quality time. The fourth one is words of affirmation. And the fifth one is physical touch. If I'm being honest, there is not one of those that I don't want. I want all of that. And it's not to say that I'm a person who is not able to be pleased, but I understand that there are different moments and that there are different times and there are different seasons where each of those things are impactful to me, or they feel good to me, or they make me feel your love. So if I'm gonna say uh that my love language is only acts of service and I don't get any of the rest of it, no, that doesn't even make sense to me because I understand that there are some times where you need someone to support you in that way, or where it might be more pertinent, or it might make more sense for them to support you in acts of service. It might make more sense for them to support you doing acts of service if, say, for instance, you are a person who is starting a business, and that person could assist you by, I don't know, if they're good at one of the particular roles that are a part of your business, that could be their act of service towards you. Or if you're sick and they bring you soup, that could be their act of service. Or if you are, I don't know, things that help you are acts of service. So if they do things that help you, that is their act of service. And there are different times where maybe you need help and maybe you need support. So acts of service might be activated. But I, for one, don't think that I always need to have an act of service. I don't always need you to bring me something to eat or some soup or whatever, because I don't always need it. Um, it's nice, but I don't always need it. It's not always necessary. Because what if you bring food and I just cooked? It's not necessary. So and then receiving, so on and so forth, all the rest of them. So I'm gonna kind of define each one because I know it's easy to assume that everybody has heard about this, but then it's also not helpful to not make sure that there's a clear understanding of the definitions of each of these. So, with acts of service, this is a love language where actions speak louder than words. So, basically, acts of service has to do with how well somebody takes care of their partner's physical and environmental needs. A person who identifies with this love language appreciates being shown through their partner's actions how much they are cared for. Receiving gifts. Oh gosh, y'all, pray for me, okay? Because I am working on how to receive gifts. It has been hard for me for the longest to receive gifts from people. I want them, I do, but I have not necessarily, because I haven't been in the place to actually get gifts from people. It's hard for me to receive gifts because I don't know uh the type of gratitude that the person might respond well to. If that makes sense. That's that people pleasing. And I'm going to call it out because I'm being honest. And again, this is our season of radical acceptance. So, for me, a lot of times receiving gifts has everything to do with the gift giver and how they like to be affirmed for what they've done. When in actuality, if you literally just express gratitude for it, most times that is enough. So, for receiving gifts, um, for those whose love language is receiving gifts, they feel most special when receiving a heartfelt physical representation of how much a person loves you. It says it may sometimes be confused as materialistic, but it is truly the thought that counts here. When you give a person who loves to receive gifts a gift that is meaningful, that is thoughtful, and that speaks to the fact that you were listening or that you were paying attention to what they've spoken about, that is what a person whose acts of service or whose love language is gift giving would actually respond the most to. If I am talking about the fact that I really want to go on a trip. And in order for me to go on a trip, I have to have specific things. If you know that I am planning that trip and you know that this specific thing I might not have already thought about, but it's something that we've discussed and you get it and you give it to me, that is the way it is most profoundly accepted. That is a person who actually feels loved by receiving gifts. That would make their entire day. And again, for me, that is an aspect of who I am. Knowing that I was on your mind while I was not in your presence makes me feel amazing. Knowing that I was on your mind while you were going to the grocery store, while you were at the mall, or while you were at home, whatever, that is important to me because it further establishes the connection and the love and the level of importance that I have in your life. So, Because you've given a gift that is based on number one, a conversation that we have, number two, based on a need that you want to meet, and number three, is given in a way where it shows me that you were thinking about me and that you care. That right there, it means the world. But do I need that all the time? No, I don't. I don't need it all the time. I don't need every time I come around you, here, I got you this. Here, I got you this. Here, I got you this. Number one, I'm the kind of person that's going to be like, well, okay, all right, I appreciate it, but I don't want you to feel that you can buy my love. And I don't want you to feel like you are required to buy my love because that's not what it's about. Again, I am a person who likes reciprocity. I am a person who enjoys being able to have a mutual level of love being passed between two parties within a relationship. I do not want to receive something that I am not willing to give, and vice versa. I don't want to give something that is not going to be given back to me. Now, that comes into a thought of certain uncommunicated expectations. Certain people have expectations that people will give them things and they'll expect it back. But because they didn't communicate it, because they didn't provide them with an understanding of how their mind and how their love operates, that they're not actually going to get the things that they want. And let me also clarify, when I say it's nice to receive back what I give, it doesn't mean if I buy you a Happy Meal or whatever, something from McDonald's, that you got to buy me something from McDonald's. That's not what I'm talking about. All I'm saying is that if mutually we are caring for each other, that's what I desire. I desire a mutual care. I desire a mutual service. I desire a mutual level of gift giving, not something that's one sided. So that's what I mean specifically when I talk about that. It's not me saying, if I give you, I don't know, a pair of shoes, you got to give me a pair of shoes. That's not what I'm talking about. It's not at all, because there are different things based on conversation and based on needs that are going to be relevant and important. So the third one is quality time. Now, I know a lot of us really underestimate quality time. A lot of us underestimate how important it is for you to be in the presence of the person that you love. You underestimate how important it is just to be able to sit in each other's presence with no expectations, with nothing that has to happen, with nothing pressing, with nothing that's on the to do list, but just to be able to enjoy the presence of the person that you love. That, my dear, is quality time. And I'm going to read what they say too. Um, Quality time refers to uninterrupted focus or time together with no distraction. I feel like I said that, but let me finish reading it. It's about prioritizing that time together and truly giving your partner your attention, connecting on an emotional level, actively listening, and being engaged. It is often helpful to plan these instances of quality time. Ooh, it can be anything from going out to dinner to a game night to watching a movie together. Quality time, like I said before, is underestimated because there are a lot of times where we are so in a rush about the things of life that when you get to slow down and enjoy the person that you love, that thing is like none other. That's what I'm saying. Like all of these things are helpful at different times in your life, in different times in your relationships. These things are helpful. However, one thing that we have to realize is that both parties have to have an understanding of what they are, and both parties have to operate with a level of discernment of when is a good time to be able to give those things. It doesn't require much as long as you are actually paying attention to the person that you are involved with. Now, if you got a whole team of people that you involved with, you gonna get all mixed up and get everybody love languages tangled. Yeah, it's a lot, and it's not really gonna yield to the type of thing that I'm talking about. So I might not necessarily be talking about the people who have teams. Not bashing you for having a team, but I'm saying this level of attention might not necessarily be something that you desire to give at this point. Next would be words of affirmation. And fellas, I love y'all. I really, really do. I really do. I am an advocate of black men, of black men. And I love y'all. Okay. And a lot of my beautiful, amazing, talented, creative, strong, passionate, powerful black men do not understand the reason why words of affirmation matters. Now, I said it earlier, there are some men who like affirmations, who like encouragement, who like being told the good things about themselves. But guess what? We like it too. Because as women, we are so nurturing. We are so giving. Not all of us. Not all of us. I'll just leave it at that. Because many of us are so giving and so nurturing and so um open and ready to be able to provide whatever it is that might be needed in that moment. It feels good to have that acknowledged. And it might not necessarily be something that you understand at this moment. It might not necessarily be something that you agree with. And it might not necessarily be something. And the only reason why I say agree is because it's been tainted. The way that it's been said is that affirmation is because you need somebody to tell you you look good. You need it. There's a difference between something that makes you feel good, that increases your morale, and that increases your feelings of love, as opposed to something that you need and that you are dependent upon. Because you can like and enjoy and feel good and embraced by something and not need it at the same time. That does exist. It exists for you to like going to a basketball game, but not actually need to go to the basketball game. You can still go to the basketball game every now and then, but because you don't need it, you're not going to every last one of them. Same thing. I can like being told I look good. I can like being told, oh man, you smell good. I can like being told that, oh man, I see your progress. But guess what? I don't need it. I like it. It is enjoyable. It feels good, but I don't need it. So there is a big difference. And sometimes because we feel like that's attached to a need, we we, both men and women, feel like we need to feed it with the long spoon and not give as much into it because we want to teach this person how not to need this. Well, number one, it's not up to you to teach a person how not to need something. You're not God. You're not. You're not the authority over their life. You're not the power over their life. It is not your mission in life to make them how you want them to be. There are not build a man's and build a woman's. No. Uh, you know what? I might have misspoken on that. There are some people who want to be built. Uh, Here is this is not what we're talking about. We're not talking about build a people. We're talking about people who are literally just trying to live their life the best way that they can and knowing that words of affirmation can help them along that journey. Literally, sometimes an affirmation can help you to know that you're on the right track and encourage you to keep going. Is that the only thing that will encourage you to keep going? No, but it's helpful sometimes. It's helpful to know that hey, I see you. You're doing good. Go ahead. It's helpful and it feels good. And there's nothing wrong with feeling good at all. So I'm going to read what they said. One way to define the words of affirmation would be words of appreciation or words of praise. It's any sort of verbal or even written communication that shows your partner how much they are loved and why. Think about how to give somebody words of affirmation that are about their being, that have to do with the personal qualities and that this person brings. How generous they are, how kind they are, how smart they are, how flexible they are, how gentle, how kind or compassionate they are. Now, what I will say is that knowing that in times past, I was not the most gentle person. I was not the most kind person. To know now that there are people who receive me with kindness is helpful. To know now that there are people who receive me with the gentleness that I provide is helpful. To know now that the anger that once consumed me is no longer in the driver's seat is helpful to me now. And so having someone to say, man, you are so much better in this area is helpful. It feels good. So sometimes you need to be affirmed. Sometimes you need to be reminded that you're doing good, that you're on the right track, that you're gorgeous. Sometimes you need to be reminded. Physical touch. If you feel comfortable, loved, and secure when you're physically connected to your partner, then physical touch might be your primary love language. It is about using your body to express connection and love. Actions include things beyond sexual intimacy, like making an active effort to hold hands, to hug, kiss, snuggle on the couch, give a massage, or anything else you and your partner enjoys in terms of physical touch. I'm going to say this. I talked to my therapist this morning. I got to get out my therapy notebook because I took a little note on what she said. And when I tell you she had a perspective that I had not heard before, I was like, now that makes sense. She spoke to me and I brought up love languages and she automatically just turned her head up and was like, oh, oh my gosh, if one more person tries to explain to me their love language, because she does couples counseling as well. But if one more couple has either person, woman or the man, trying to tell me their love language, I'm going to scream. She was like, what people don't understand is that love is so much more than these five quadrants, areas, segments, whatever that you want to define them as. And it's so much more than what you have expected it to be in the past. Uh what she was saying, and I'm going to read her words verbatim because again, I like to make sure that I say it right. She actually does not believe in love languages, and I'll tell you why. She says love is not a perfect package, not something that you can box in. Love languages box in and limit love. Love is a sacrifice and a choice, especially if it's in line with the Bible. We want cheerleaders, but why do we need all the validation and all the speaking, the words that are spoken to? And so I had to tell her, I was like, look, here's the thing. I agree with you. Actually, I do. Because I want love to be something that is vast, something that is beautiful, something that is meaningful, and something that is so much more than what time and past and situations have presented to me. So I understand that I don't want to box in and I don't want to package love. I do understand that these specific concept incorporated into a love relationship is important. And so she was like, yeah, well, definitely have them incorporated in your love relationships, but don't let that be the sum total of your relationships or the thing that your relationship is defined based on. Because life is seasons, life is ebbs and flows. Relationships are seasons and ebbs and flows. They are all based on how and where you and that person are in this season, in this moment. He might have had a crazy day at work. Most men are not even going to tell you they had a crazy day because they're going to internalize it. And it's going to be something that you never know about until they tell you how wrong you are about telling them about your bad day. And the thing is that while it's important to have a balance and to really be able to consider his need, gentlemen, we can't consider your need if you don't communicate it. We can't consider the fact that you have things that we need to be able to support you on if those things are not spoken about. And I know, y'all are strong and y'all don't need us in that way. However, it is helpful for you to have another person in your corner, respecting everything that you have going on. Allow the person to be in your corner. So I'm gonna go back to this because I got off a little bit. So what she was saying when she said love is a sacrifice and a choice, I understand. Love allows you, because when she was talking about that, she was mentioning how the love languages operate or how love is defined within the Bible. Love is patient, love is kind, love holds no record of past wrongdoings and things like that. Love, all those kind of stuff. I have to bring it up, and I feel real bad because I supposedly love the Lord, but I don't know that verse. Uh, but you know what? I'm gonna be real. I'm not a person who know the Bible inside and out. I love me some God, but I don't know the Bible inside and out. And I think God is okay with that. Yeah. So love is patient, love is kind, love is not arrogant or boastful. It also love bears, believes, hopes, and endures all things, and it never fails. Hold on, why are you reading it to me in that way? I'm gonna do it a better way because they gave me some yumpy. I don't know what that is. Anyway, okay. So I'm gonna read it one more time. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. My God. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. So, if I'm reading that, I can understand why she says love is sacrifice because there has to be a choice to bear with people, even in the midst of them going through some crazy stuff and their personality is trash in this season. They might be having a hard time being nice to themselves, let alone you in this season. And they might just literally need you to understand I am going through some crap and I just need you to give me a little moment so I can get this together. And getting it together doesn't necessarily have to involve you. It literally can just be you allowing them space to do it for themselves. You don't have to be there trying to fix it. And so listening to this definition of love that comes from the Bible, we can understand, especially uh, that maybe our definition of love can be so many things. It could be multifaceted. Maybe it can be us knowing and understanding that our love can be way more than what we ever anticipated. And maybe the love languages are boxing us in. Maybe it's limiting us and keeping us from understanding and respecting that there are other things that need to be involved in that love. Now, when she said we want cheerleaders and asked why do we need the validation, first of all, I heard somebody else's voice in my ear who will remain nameless, but I heard somebody else's voice in my ear when that was said. But then I also heard the little girl in me. I also heard the person who at this time doesn't necessarily have a lot of people around me. And I asked her, I put the question back on her. I'm like, so what is so wrong with me enjoying being told that I'm doing a good job? What is wrong with me liking being told that I look nice? What is wrong with that? There has been a large part of my life, and I told her that this is why we do the whole trauma processing and things like that. I'm telling y'all a little more of my business. But I was telling her, I'm like, you have to also understand that the type of person that I am has often felt rejected, has often felt discarded, has often felt pushed to the side, who has often felt like she was placed last, who has not been a priority for not very many people. And so understanding, hearing and being affirmed in those directions and in those areas are helpful to me to understand that just because that's not something that I haven't experienced in the past doesn't mean that's something that's accessible to me in the future. And so she was like, I hear where you're coming from, but consider this. Consider that maybe that affirmation that you're looking for is a bit of a drug that you need a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more of, that you'll never actually be fulfilled and full by getting that from people outside of you. So maybe the words of affirmation that you seek are the words of affirmation that are backed up by the facts inside of you. Maybe, just maybe. Now, when she said that, I very deeply rolled my eyes at her. Vehemently rolled my eyes at her. And I was really, but then I was like, man, it makes sense. Like it makes sense at the same time because I never want to have someone love me and feel like because I'm so in a deficit in specific areas that they have to exhaust themselves. They have to lose who they are in order to make up for the deficiencies that are in me that I haven't taken care of. And that's not fair. It's not right. And it's not love. It's not showing that person that you value them by showing them that the only way that they can be a person who actually loves you is if they do it your way on your time, and they meet whatever these specific needs are. That's not real. You are loving a person who has had their own set of experiences, who has their own idea of what love is. And for you to completely disregard all of that, it makes you the selfish one. It makes you the one who is looking for your addiction high. And your addiction might be those affirmations. And I'm telling you, even though I didn't even think about it until today, it makes so much sense to not feel like I'm nothing without someone's affirmation. And I'm not saying that I was that far because I didn't think I'm nothing without your affirmations. I'm nothing if you don't tell me I'm. No, that's not what I was thinking. But there are some of us who are to that point that if we're not told certain things, we don't believe it about ourselves. And that right there is where the problem lies. The problem lies is where you don't know for yourself what someone else affirming or confirming that you already knew about yourself. Because an affirmation literally just should be, oh, yeah, thank you. That should just be a confirmation of what you already know. Are you pretty? Do you look good? When you put that outfit on in the mirror, did you already be like, okay, I like this? And then they just come over and confirm what you already knew when you first put it on in the mirror. Because that's what it should actually be. It should just be them adding to what you already have foundationally. Do you, and I guess we need to talk about self-esteem because clearly when when it comes to building self-esteem, some of us, myself included, have not always had that. And so this is something that we have had to consciously build. This is something that we have had to consciously work towards gaining and growing in. It's not something that, was instinctively there. It was something that had to be exercised. And so I understand and I can identify with how it feels to be in a place where the only good thing you hear about yourself is coming from outside. I can identify with that. It's not right, it's not helpful, and it's not positive, but I can understand it. What I can also understand in that is that that is not where it has to end. That does not have to be the final say. That does not have to be the last chapter of the book. I have low self-esteem and that's it. Self-esteem can be rebuilt. Self-esteem can be exercised and worked on. That is something. It's not easy to do it. No, no, no. But it can be done. There are things that we have to do within ourselves so that when we come into a love relationship, we are not a drain, a fun sucker, a love sucker that all we're doing is taking, 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 and we're thinking we're giving, but we're actually not. We're just draining this person who actually loves us, who does want to actually be that person for us. But because we're sucking so much out and we're sucking so much air out of the room with the things that we need, that we didn't leave space to also actually understand that there are two people in this scenario and not just one. There are two people that need to have access to the fullness of this love and not just one. Another thing that she said that kind of got me a little bit, but also made sense. She said physical touch is automatic. Why does that have to be a love language? We have a larger problem if you struggle with physical problem. If you can't hug someone, if you can't kiss someone, if you can't touch someone, if you can't be around them and have a draw to touch them in some way, we have a larger problem. Because you can pet a dog, naturally you can pick up a child, but if you can't touch your partner, then we got something else to discuss. So to make physical touch a love language, she was saying it's weird to me because it should be automatic. She was saying that if you are a person who you are people who share a physical attraction and you don't want to touch each other, then we have a whole different set of problems that we need to talk about. We got a whole different set of things that we need to discuss. Maybe it's just that individual who might have some traumatic scenarios and they might be averse to touch as a result of that. Might be another person, same thing. Or honestly, this person might actually not like you. They don't want to touch you. Do they really like you? But you got to ask yourself those questions. You got to get yourself to the point where you're being honest about yourself and what you need. One of the things that I will say, and that a lot of people don't include in their like love languages and their list and things like that, because believe it or not, I've actually made one of those love lists before. I've been one of the people who were like, okay, I want to make a list of my person and put it on my prayer list and pray about this person and this, that, and the other. And the main things that were all on my list were things that were based on values of that person. It wasn't based on what they could give to me. It wasn't based on if they could take care of all my financial needs. Newsflash, gentlemen, I love y'all, but newsflash. There are a lot of us that literally just want you as a person. We don't want what you can provide. Now, what you can provide may be an added bonus. It's beneficial, it's helpful. But we are not the leeches that are on social media that all they want somebody to pay my bills, somebody to pay my car note, somebody to get my hair done, somebody to get my nails done. I need somebody to fly me out. I need somebody to sweetie, I might fly you out. And no, disclaimer, don't be in my inbox asking me to fly you out. No. What I mean by that is if I am connected to someone in a way where there is genuine care and genuine love and established love, we can do specific things for each other. I can fly that person out. That person can fly me out should there be a need or should there be a desire for us to do something in that direction. Let's talk about that. And I am a firm believer in, again, wanting to have something that is between two parties and not just one person. Like, I don't want my person, if I genuinely love this person, I don't want this person to do so much that they are depleted and never refilled. My person, I want them to be poured into. I want them to know that as soon as they have a need that I have the ability to meet, say less. It's done. It's done. And that's not on talking some out of the side of my neck, some bull crap. Like literally, I want my person to know, hey, I got you. If don't nobody else got you, this chick got you. Period. And I feel like when we are so caught up in the way we think love should go, we don't understand that there is a power and a strength in being able to understand that I am the safe place for my person and that they are the safe place for me. There is nothing better in the world than knowing that the peace that my person experiences, a part of it comes from me. And notice I said a part of it. Because I don't need to be your everything. I don't need to be your all because that means there's no space for God. That means there's no space for people who might be in your family. There's no space for the people who might actually be able to mentor you and impart into you because people need mentors. I don't care what nobody say. Everybody needs somebody who's older than them with some level of experience to be able to pour into them and be like, all right, so now I love you and I love you and I love you. But that thing right there, that wasn't right. And me being able to respect them enough to be like, okay, you know what? You're right. It wasn't right. I need to go fix it. I need to fix it. Because sometimes, ladies, we need to go fix it. We don't like to fix it, but we need to go fix it sometimes. Ooh, that one is good. But yeah, so with with this whole love thing, there's a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot that comes out of it. There is a lot that is to be said about a person who wants to experience genuine love as a result of wanting something that they can receive from, but also something that they can pour into. I do not want a love that I cannot contribute to. I don't want a love that serves me, but I am not able to feel fulfilled in pouring back into. And so when we talk about these love languages and what's actually for us, we got to realize that maybe love is so much more than the negative things that have happened in our life. Maybe love doesn't have to be the retribution for the bad things that have happened to you in the past. Maybe love doesn't have to be your life being better than or so it can be, and it should be, and it would be nice for it to be. But maybe that doesn't have to be all it is. Is that now I'm experiencing something that my neglectful parents couldn't give me? Because it's not your partner's job to repair the damage that your parents may have done on you. Literally, it is your job to heal yourself with or before ever meeting your partner. It is your partner's job to love the current version of you who understands that my past doesn't define me, who understands that the things that have happened in my past may have been terrible, they may have been hurtful, and they may have affected me negatively. It is not their job to fix that, it is your job. But what they can do is they can support you if you might have a little bit left over that you got to work on. They can support you and say, I support you going to therapy. I want you to go. So I'm going to leave you alone during your therapy time. Y'all handle that. I'm going to leave you alone so you can go do your meditation, so you can do your prayers, so you can do whatever it is. You can go to the gym, you can go on your nature hikes, whatever you need to go do to fill yourself up, to pour into your own cup. That is the type of support that your partner should be giving to you. It is not their job to facilitate your healing. I'm going to say that again. It is not your partner's job to facilitate your healing. It's your job to facilitate your healing. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it and I'm going to be honest about it. It freaking sucks that certain things we have to heal on our own, but we do. This is the radical acceptance. We got to heal it. We got to heal it and we got to let it go. And we got to understand that there are things that have existed in our life that were not right, but we got to heal it. And we got to understand that in us healing it, we're making ourselves the most beautiful and joyful and peaceful versions of ourselves possible. Yes, man, y'all could be beautiful too. And so that is something that I really want to push. I want to push us all moving towards the direction of being able to experience the fullness and the joy that operates within this life that we live. There is so much more to this life than the things that have hurt you. There is so much more to this life than the things that have affected you negatively in the past. And I want to encourage you to experience those things. Here at the Sunshine State, a lot of us have had conversations, like even that have been sparked from us being in the conversations that we have on the podcast, things that I talk about, the topics. Um, we've talked about all these things, and we understand that, of course, we're all at varying levels of course, we all have different perspectives. But the one thing that we can say and do have in common is that betterment is always going to be the goal. Growth is sexy, baby. Growth is so attractive. And so if you are growing and these people are growing and that person's growing, y'all some fine mugs. Y'all are gorgeous. Growth is gorgeous, girl. Listen to me. Okay? So I'm gonna leave you with that because I feel like I can go on and on about it. I actually agree with my therapist because I don't necessarily think that love languages are necessary. I understand the reason why they were made. I understand the reason why they are a thing because there are a lot of times people are in relationships that they probably shouldn't be in, and they're trying to get that person to see them for who they are. And maybe they're also in relationships that maybe they should be in, and maybe this is their way of being vulnerable and communicating who they are to that person. But I also think that in addition to the five love languages, we should also talk about the other aspects of our lives or the other aspects of us that are needed in the relationship or the other aspects that we feel would add to the love that we experience within relationships because there's so much more than just wanting to be served, wanting to be given gifts, wanting to be touched, wanting quality time spent with you and all those other things. Life love is not just in that box alone. Love is limitless as long as you are willing to allow it. So, with that being said, thank you so much for joining me today on the Sunshine State. My name is Sunshine Wiley, and I have been your host. Thank you so much for, again, being able to pour into me as I'm able to pour into other people. This journey is not easy. There are times that this journey does not make me feel like I am on the right track. However, with every time that you guys send me feedback, send me messages, like, subscribe, and share the information that I'm sharing, it makes me understand and be reaffirmed that I am actually on the right track. We have so many beautiful things that are here for you at the Sunshine State, things that will support you along your wellness journey, things that will remind you of wellness in your life, in your everyday walk. And so I want to really mention to you again that we have things that are available to you that I think you should get. Things are pretty dope. So we have merch. We have wellness journals, planners, all this kind of stuff. We have career journal. So if you don't already know, I am in human resources. So this is something that I recommend to my clients. There are a lot of people who are kind of spinning their wheels and don't necessarily know where they should be within their career. So this is something that helps them. And honestly, a part of being well is understanding that your money is also going to be right. So go ahead and get that career journal because it'll help you get your money side of your wellness right. Wellness journal to make sure that you're tracking your thoughts, your gratitude, all your things. And there's also a little planner for the girlies. Well brand apparel, y'all. And I am wearing some well brand apparel today. They are a partner of the Sunshine State. And with me wearing my well, I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna show you my wellness I'm wearing today. Yeah, you see it. Let me get up. Let me get up. It's cute, y'all. Look. So these are our yoga pants. Uh huh. Get into it. And these pants are actually so comfortable and they actually fit me very well. The it's real high up. It's holding me strong and everything. I actually tried to do some squats with it earlier cuz that's the test. You want to do the squat test to make sure your stuff fit right. So I did the squat test and I was like, "Okay, they don't roll down on me. All right." They got a little pocket in the back and everything for you to hold your phone in there. I'm not going to show y'all that cuz y'all ain't finna see my business. Nah. But yeah, so you do a little squats and they don't roll down to nothing. Oh. Showed y'all my business anyway. Anyway, but yeah, so get y'all some well brand apparel. They don't roll down, they fit amazingly. Uh, and that's all I got. Thank y'all so much for joining me today. I love y'all. Be good to yourself and to someone else. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Don't be afraid of the crowd, laughing loud and feeling free. Never noticed till you there was more. They can see you really. So stand out, stand out, stand out. You're here, you're free, absolutely where you need to be. So stand out, stand out, stand out.
Welcome to the Sonshine State, a space for health, healing, and wellness.